The 7th tutorial explains all other variable types available in the anchor data, in addition to the survey variables. What are preload variables? Preload variables are included in the scientific use file from Wave 2 onward. They were generated based on variables from the previous wave and contain information necessary for dependent interviewing. The questionnaire in the current wave, more specifically question wording, filters, etc., depends in part on the articulation of these variables, which are easily recognizable by their form, a lowercase d followed by a number. A detailed list of preload variables can be found in the anchor codebooks for each specific wave. These variables should not be used for analysis. However, the variable d0 can sometimes be useful for data preparation, as it can be used to distinguish whether the anchor respondent participated in the previous wave, skipped the last wave, or took part in the survey for the first time in the current wave. What are auxiliary variables? Auxiliary variables were generated during the interview and mainly used to modify filters and question wording. For example, if a respondent reports a current partner during the survey, they will be posed further questions about this partner. The auxiliary variable HPN stores the name of the current partner and is used as part of the question wording for further questions about this partner. Due to data protection laws, names were eliminated from the data, and this variable only states whether a name was mentioned during the interview. The variable ERW1 reflects whether the anchor indicated at least one occupation at the time of the current interview. A full list of auxiliary variables is available in the codebooks for each wave. What about Paradata? The following Paradata is available in the anchor datasets: total number of contact attempts, interviewer gender, interviewer age, interviewer education level, interviewer ID, interview duration in minutes, and the interview date. Why does pairfam provide generated variables? Generated variables are indicator variables generated during data processing to facilitate data usage. The generated variable rel_dur, for example, stores the relationship duration with the anchor respondent's current partner. This information is originally stored in individual event history calendar variables for each month of the previous year. That's a lot of variables across the panel that would need to be transformed to achieve the information included in this variable. As the EHC is very informative, but can also be difficult to use in analyses, we provide generated variables that summarize the key elements of the EHC to make analyses easier for you. Generated variables are also error-corrected. Gender, birth year, and birth month of anchor and altery respondents are recognizable by the suffix -gen and are best solutions over all waves. The original information of each wave is stored in the variables original-sex and original-doby. For example, if an anchor stated in 3 waves to be female and in 1 wave male, we chose the most plausible response based on the assumption of an incorrect entry, here that the anchor is in fact female, and aligned this information over all waves in the variable sex-gen. 2 actual changes of gender were communicated throughout the course of the panel to the interviewer. These anchor respondents received the missing code -4 for the variable sex-gen. We highly recommend the usage of generated variables in relevant analyses. The data syntax files for most of the provided generated variables are available as part of the scientific use file, making data processing more transparent. Furthermore, you can use the syntax to modify a specific generated variable and adjust it to your research question. Due to data protection measures, the syntax for some generated variables cannot be released. For example, the generation of the variable isco, which classifies occupations. A list of all available variables can be found in the anchor and altery codebooks, as well as in the question program. More detailed documentation concerning generated variables is available in the data manual. Which macro variables are available? Macrodata are retrospective context attributes concerning the anchor respondent's place of residence. Included in the scientific use file are federal, state, municipality size at the anchor's main residence and the settlement structure at both the anchor's and parent's main residences. Which weights are provided? Design weights, as well as calibrated design weights, are available for the pairfam base, demotive, and refreshment sample anchor respondents. Weights provide factors to adjust the observed data to characteristics of the general population and manage selective non-response by assigning observations with characteristics of higher selectivity a higher analysis weight. Therefore, both cross-sectional survey participation bias and longitudinal panel attrition bias for the following waves can be tackled. Third, a correction of cohort-specific non-response aiming to represent actual cohort sizes in the population of interest can be integrated. The design weight corrects disproportionate sampling across cohorts and the combination of multiple selection frames, including demotive and the wave 11 refreshment sample. The calibrated design weight calibrates the design weights to reference characteristics, thereby correcting both baseline and longitudinal survey non-response. No weights are available for step-up respondents or alternate respondents. A detailed documentation of the weighting factors can be found in the data manual and in technical paper number 17. What are flag and tag variables? Flag variables mark inconsistent interview entries in one wave. For example, if a marriage reportedly began before the relationship with the same partner, or if a respondent's net income is higher than the gross income. Tag variables, on the other hand, mark inconsistencies between waves. For example, if the birth data of gender differs from previous waves for anchor, partners, or children. A full list of flag and tag variables is available in the data manual. Is there a specific order to the variables? All anchor datasets have the same variable order. Note that this table does not include the full list of variables, but only an excerpt of each variable type. Identification variables are listed first, followed by sample indicators and the survey year. Next are the generated birth and gender identifiers, followed by further generated variables, for example age and macro variables. Afterwards, paradata are listed, for example the number of interviewer contacts and interviewer's gender and age. The weighting variables then follow, along with the flag and tag variables. Next are the auxiliary and the preload variables. Last but not least, in fact the majority of variables, the event history calendar variables, followed by the rest of survey data variables. This concludes the description of available variable types in the pairfam data. The next tutorial will cover missing values and filter missings.